So now that we have a world design, a landscape, and I'm happy with the way that it's looking right now. Actually, I prefer this version than the one that I had initially built. I'm very excited to customize it. So we have a road here. I want to make a bridge. I want to put some assets along the road, kind of like I don't even know, like some barrels, some crates, and then all the way to the city that we're going to be building here. So most of the work we've done was essentially to lay the foundation, flatten that surface, make sure there is some kind of storytelling device playing here. Maybe our level starts here and our hero moves to the city. So in order to do that, I added to the project, if you go into the art folder, several kits. Okay, they all okay to be used because they under Creative Commons 0, which means no attribution. You can use anything that you want. And if you go to the geo, you can see there's a lot of them, right? So usually when you watch a tutorial online, with some other people, they will build like this. They would drag, then drag stuff on top. Maybe they will enable snapping, so it can easily put one box on top of the other, and then they're just gonna move forward. And there's a thing there, there's another one there, and that's fine. That's an interesting way to design. Is the most common way to do so. But a friend of mine very recently showed me a better way to do it. They essentially uses a plugin that is enabled by default inside Unreal, and I never used it before, to be quite honest. But it changed my life. It changed how I approach this kind of tasks. So in order to do so, what I want you to do is to go to Settings, Plugins, and we're gonna look for Palette. And the one that we want is this one, Actor Palette. It's already enabled in my project, but it might not be yours. So you can just press it and then restart the engine. And when you're back, this is going to be available in Tools, Actor Palettes, and you have up to 4 that you can use. But before we click in it, there's one next step that we need to conclude before we're able to use it. We need to set up something that we call a zoo asset level. It's essentially all the possible assets that you can use into a single level. And I did this for you halfway through, meaning I set up a few of those, but there's still more assets that you can list it, and I'm going to show to you exactly the process. So if you go inside the maps dev folder, and you can see there's a level called L Asset Zoo. So double click in that one. You can save this. And shadam. This is what it looks like. And you probably saw this if you do game dev. You probably saw people doing this with the setting packs. It's essentially an easy way to display to you what those assets are. So I use a text actor here to list it. Each one of these is in the individual folders, so there's no way they're gonna be confused. And essentially, I just put a bunch of stuff, right? Bunch of stuff that you might need to use in here. And the way that we're gonna approach this is we're gonna select what we need and click in the world. But how do I do that? Because if I open another level, this level is gonna be closed, right? So if I go to follow along new world P, that level is completely closed, right? Well, here's the trick. If you go to tool, actor palette, palette 1, and you can even, if you want, dock into your viewport like this. You can even close down because we don't need to use the content browser. If you pick the level, I use an open last level, so let me do it again because I might have missed that. Actor palette, actor 1. I can choose the level that I want to open. In this case here, recent level, asset 2. And let's say I want to do a windmill. Like I feel like there might be a windmill here on the river. I can just go here, select the asset, and then I can just paste in the scene. And I'm actually going to go 1.5 in scale. Then I can start building this. So I select here and click. I'm not even doing anything else but clicking. I'm going to disable snapping pretty quick. Select, click, and then what I can do is just bring some of this assets here. So I can get one of this. I can get one of this. And I can get one of this. And if I've done everything right, I should be able to start building something. But because I'm doing this in another flat surface, so what I'm gonna do is really quickly, here's another trick for you. Just create a plane. Because we're gonna build it and then we're gonna make that into a small group of assets that we can reuse over and over. So just do this and then let's do the same thing again. Put me there. I want one of these too, and I want a tiny window. And oops, select that one there too, put it here. Yeah, I think that's good. So what I can do now, all these assets are modular, right? So if you select them, you see the, oops, they can match each other by the pivot. So I can just make sure that the pivot positions is there. It's gonna make a lot of sense when I showed you this. But before even that, I wanna increase the size to 1.5 because I know that's gonna be too small. So I'm gonna build this windmill here. So I'm gonna press E. While I'm holding Alt, I'm gonna rotate 90 degrees, and then I'm gonna make sure that my increment on the in there is moving like this. I'm gonna select them both, rotation, holding Alt, so I can do the other side. And I'm just gonna make sure that there's a space in between for this. I might need to reduce to 5 to align it. There you go. So in one side there's a door. Oops. And in the other side, I'm gonna make sure that there is one of this, a window. So that's my base of my windmill right there. And I need a door. So let's find a door here. Where would that door be? Dun, 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 dun. It's probably all the way in the end. I'm just navigating so I can find it. There you go. Click it. Put it here. 1.5. Just move that again a little bit. It's fine if you intersect just a tiny bit. My camera is a little bit too fast. I'm gonna divide that by half. Because I want it to be there, but I don't want the player to be able to access. So that's good enough. So what I'm gonna do now is just take all of this and alt click and drag up. But then I take that window and just put here. And I'll do one more level. Oops. I can have the one at the back. But maybe I'll do this one. It's gonna make sense in a second what I'm trying to do. And then I can just move this closer. Move this closer. Move this thing here closer too. Alt click and drag. Maybe I need to push this out a little bit. And for the other wall there, what I'm gonna do, easy peasy, just gonna get like a flat wall. Move it back here again. I'll get one of this. And everything that I'm trying to do here is just really quickly building something with the tools that I have at my disposal. And instead of going back to the content browser and dragging and drop stuff in here, if I build like this, it is just so much faster, right? With all that selected, okay. I'm just gonna do one more. And I'm going to move this thing here with snap to here. So I'm gonna put it there. Rotate 90 degrees, push up a little bit, and just really make this huge. I'm gonna say like 3. Oh, probably too much. So 2 is enough. Clearly, I need to push the other walls forward a little bit. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna select all of it with Shift. Making my best not to touch the gizmo and move it by mistake. I just move a little bit forward. Whoops, forgot one. Oh, there you go. Cool. I don't have an interesting floor piece there. So I'm just gonna try to repurpose. Let's see if I can find anything here that might be good. Well, I have some ceiling pieces that might be useful. So I'm gonna get one of this. Oh, reset the rotation. Snappy was on, that's why. What happens if I do this? As long as I'm respecting the grids and the rotations are proper, I won't have much problem aligning pieces to make them work here. Wow, still super. Oops. Alt click and drag. Whoop. What's happening there? Am I snapping on? No. And I'm just like randomly creating stuff. Here's another piece that I can use as like a window. Hmm. I have a sneak suspicion that this might be too tall, even for what we had there. So I'm actually gonna remove this level here. No, sorry, not this level. This, yeah, well, I mean this level of the building, so I can pull this down a little bit because I think it's gonna be too tall for our camera. We might be able to see from far away, but we won't be able to see close. But that's okay because what we're doing here is not really building this specifically. It's just learning how to operate the tools. And there's way too many pieces to select on the top. So instead of selecting them, I'm just going to select the bottom ones because there's only one row. I'm going to push this up. And that needs to be also brought up. Yeah, that looks cool. What I can do here to patch that is maybe get some more ceiling pieces. Let's see. Yeah, I'll just do another one of these actually. So let's try to create an interesting shape here. That looks like it was designed. Remember, I 1.5 on the base, which is the correct scale. Then I did a smaller scale on the other one. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna cover the thing there. We don't want that. So what about this thing here? I'm gonna 1.5 this. Honestly, I don't hate it. Actually, I do, but at least we're trying something, right? It's not as bad in the front, but it does look off in the back. But it's also because it's not center. So let me just push this a little bit like this. So the relief in both sides at least matches a little bit. And I can just scale on the one axis. That was probably too much, so. There you go. Cool. What is actually missing is the wheel. So I'm gonna reset the rotation of the wheel. I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna try to align to this. And like that. Make it 2. Whoa. Maybe I went a little bit hard, but leave it there for now. I guess 1.5. It's probably fine. We need some kind of geometry to connect there. Let's see if I can find something here that might be useful. I can even repurpose stuff. So whatever this is like a wall piece. I can just repurpose to be the connection between those two things. That way I can almost project out a little bit. There you go. I'm just brainstorming, just building interesting shapes. So I'm happy with this, right? All the people would just leave this in the world. They would put inside a group or something and just move down. But I have a better way to do this. So let's say if I want to make one of this. Oops, I forgot the door in here, and then I want to make another one on the other side. I need to alt click and drag and then put it there, right? And it's just a lot of work, and there's a lot of assets inside the outliner. So a cool way to achieve this, to be able to reuse this, is select everything that you created, including the door. Right click, go to level, and then you have two options, right? You have the level instance and the pack level actor. The difference between them is the level instance can have more than geometry, and the pack level actor is only geometry. Since we only have geometry selected here, we don't have like a smoke coming out of chimney and stuff like that. We can just go here and create a pack level actor. This new window here is essentially telling that, asking you where do you want the pivot to be. See the selection pivot that I have there is in the center of all the selection and the minimum of the selection, which is the base of it. And that's what I want for most of the assets they're going to create. So just say, yeah, that's good. It's going to ask me to save something. You can see there's inside art. There's already a folder called PLA, Pack Level Actor. And I'm going to show to you the other ones that I created. It's going to be super useful. So I'm going to create a new one, PLA underscore windmill. It's going to ask me to also save a blueprint, which is pretty cool. And just like that, you now have this as an assembly that you can use over and over. So I can just put it there. I have that stuff in here. But look at that. For some reason, the water level of this can be a little bit better. I think this can be lower a little bit. So what if I want to make a change to this? Click on it. Under the details tab is going to be an edit. Yeah, I'm going to show to you something interesting before we even do that. Pretend there's another one there. Okay, so I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to go edit. Everything is going to gray out, and only while you're editing is going to be available. So I'm going to make that change. Push this down. And if I save, that change is also going to apply for every single other child that exists in the scene. So every other windmill that you might create is going to have that. And that's powerful. Right? Now you have the cool asset there. And the size of the door matches too. It's pretty awesome. So if you go to my content drawer, PLA, you can see that I saved many useful arrangements of assets, right? So if you want to quickly place in the world some barrels here on the side, some crates in the other side, right? I save a little bit of a house if you want to put a house somewhere. Maybe this thing here is like someone's house, so you can just go there, use the same color, just put that house there by the road. Maybe you want a patch of flowers. There's a patch of flower right there. Maybe you want an arrangement of a tree, like something that looks like someone planted that tree in a planter. I saved that one there too. So you can start grouping. Maybe this is a merchant. You can start arranging in different ways, creating different arrangements like the one that I did. If you build this stuff on top of a plane, it's always going to be flat to the ground, which is what I want. Then it's going to be easier to create this kind of stuff. For example, there's a cart by the road. That makes a lot of sense to have a cart by the road. So I love it. You can even enable snapping. So it snaps to the normal. Like stays in an interesting angle. There you go. Some of the barrels and stuff. Maybe you want to put a bunch of these lights, like this is the road, so there are lights everywhere. Or maybe you just want to bring the one that I created already, a whole city, and just put on the top of the city. I just went through the process. It's just like exactly what I showed to you is what I did for this. So now you have a kingdom on the top of the hill. Just like that. So in the bottom you have this, and then you keep going to the top of the hill. There's a whole kingdom. Trying to position so there's no intersecting. You might need to do a little bit of editing. But really quickly you can build something. So let's try like continue to do this, okay? So maybe I'm happy with the stuff that we set up so far. So I'm gonna be doing this. And by the way, I did these assets. I created these assets the same way that I just created the windmill. And you saw how fast it was. We might need to maybe rotate some of this to be facing the camera with the character, but we can always do this after. I'm just gonna place them really quick. Some people call this assemblies, some people call this groups, some people call this prefabs. But all it is a pack level actor that we can quickly set up in our scene. And because these are all instanced, we can really go crazy. Like if you want to make 10 different cities together, I can just keep duplicating this and move around and keep duplicating this and move around as many times as I want. And you're going to see the FPS is not going to change because it's already all instanced. So it's super performant. It's amazing. And of course, you can always edit and maybe extend the city to this area here. Maybe there's another small selection of houses there. Maybe the city is a little bit to the side actually. And then we have a bunch of outskirts, different houses and stuff. And if I press play, let's see how that looks like. Clearly, now that I'm seeing this, I think this is auto scale. Whoops. The city is fine, I think. But the houses, they auto scale. I can tell by the way that it means the same houses inside. So I can just go here and go 1.5. And this is what's cool too, because you can have assets on side assets. So if I go here to the city, I click in it and I say edit. You're gonna notice that all of this is the stuff that is inside it. A majority of it is pack level actor. So I can just go to one pack level actor, edit it, and that one is the same one I'm using here. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna push something up. I'm gonna save it, and you're gonna see that the ceiling piece is gonna be showing up everywhere now, right? So you can just nested changes inside changes. In this case, I can just go here, edit this one, and just save it. And now I don't have that anymore, that one. Whoops, that is crazy. I shouldn't have that one. Oh, it disappeared, so save again. Whoa, I might have caused a small bug. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna delete this for now and add again. Uh-oh, not Gucci. Okay, let me figure out why that is. Save from inside. Oh boy. Well, it's good that you see me creating a bug. I can Control Z. That's what I'm gonna do for now. Can I Control Z? No, I cannot. Oh. You see me doing this live and you're gonna be like, oh, so this is not all fake. There is issues that happen sometimes. The challenge is how do we fix it? Also try to align this to the location of the camera of the character. Okay, how are we gonna do that? If I go to the actual blueprint and I double click, I might be able to select it. Yeah, just delete. But then I cause that piece too. So annoying. Yep, shouldn't have to do this, which is really frustrating, but can't believe this. Well, that's a cautionary tale to not go agony like crazy. One stuff inside the other. But you can actually see that everything is an instant smash, which is pretty awesome. Now I just to cycle through this till I find that geometry, which is annoying as hell. Okay, I'll compile this. It might be faster to just egg it. And just add to the fact. It's referencing the real way. But when I load this, it's gonna show up here, which is really here. So I'm gonna remove. Okay. Then I'm gonna go inside again. Paste and save. And I think that might force that to be correct. Yep. There you go. Weird, but it worked. And that's what maggots. So if you come across that issue, you know how to fix now. I went ahead and created this assembly. You can just create your own pack level actors and start populating the scene. But let's go back here to set dress. I'm committed to make a small bridge here at least. So I'm going to look for some bridge pieces in this list. And if I don't have one, I'm going to show to you how to start importing stuff here so I can use it. Oh, this is perfect. So I have snapping available there. I don't need this. Here, actually, let's do this. It's going to go up a little bit. Almost like it's lifted. I'm going to alt click and drag to the one beside it. And I'm also going to change both scale for this to 1.5. So it's like a big bridge. I think that's going to be easier for us. I'm going to make the rotation, even though it's not going to align to the other side, I'm going to make this into a pack level actor so we can add another one somewhere else. And so I'll get this one. How about two? Maybe I can use one single one for the whole thing. 2.5. It might actually be 3. Yes, 3. Because the other one is 2.5. Sorry, it's 1.5, so this one can be 3. There you go. And I can just go here and alt click and drag and just rotate 180 degrees. And that's good enough of a bridge for me. So you guess it, I'm just going to select all of this, right click, level, pack level actor, same saggings, PLA, bridge. Save that one too. And just like that, if I move a little bit here, the axis got a little bit messed up. So let's say like here, the problem right now I have is the axis. So if I go to edit, I can go to the pivot here and rotate the pivot to align to the direction of the bridge. And if I save it, it should have updated. Well. I don't know if that's a bug or that's me just not knowing what I did wrong, but I could swear that you can do that. Maybe not. Doesn't matter because that's working for us. We just need to make sure that, and we can always, by the way, just go back and make changes to the. Oof, it's gonna be so annoying. Changes to our landscape if we need. Oh boy, this is really frustrating. So I'm gonna egg it again. I'm gonna do this by really. I think it's just like this a little bit. Oof, this pivot's driving me insane. But there you go. So that's one bridge, and then I can just go here, alt click and drag, and I can make another one here. So my character can cross from one side to the other. Since I went to the work of doing this, I don't have another island here, but I could make another bridge here if I wanted. So what happens if I play from here? And I know we haven't set up the character we're gonna set up next. I'm using my old setup, but it's just to test it. Ooh, for some reason I cannot go up. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the collision of this geometry needs to be changed. So just go here, show collision. Yeah. See how harsh it is? We need to change that. So pretty straightforward. For this one is easy. Let me remove show collision. I can just go here to the mesh. I use this one and I use the other one. So I can just double click in the geometry. It's gonna load it. Show simple collision. And it's literally a block. I just need to go here, type collision, and use complex collision or simple. Save it. And I think that should be good enough. Yep. Perfection. We should change only collisions and the stuff that we need to be changed. Everything else, if it doesn't need to change, it's not worth it changing. So this thing here, I also think should be 1.5. We might need to scale all these assets, including the carts and everything. Everything looks very tiny. Maybe. I think the vendor is fine. The house definitely needed scale. I think maybe the light post should be changed. And we definitely need to rotate all of them like this. So what you can do is just copy and select all the street lamps and just paste the rotation. There you go. And what you can also do, just select all of them and 1.5. Nice. I like the way it looks like. You can actually tell it's a street lamp. The other stuff is kind of cute, that is a little bit tiny, but we can also scale them up too. But at least now it looks like we have something there. Okay, let's address this area a little bit more. And then, because already set up this so you can use and you can create your own based on this. And you can add it and change whatever you want. Let's just focus this area here that we're doing. Let's address a little bit more. I did saw some fences. And I think they might look really cool if we put there. I'm going to go for the more chunky, cute looking one, which is this one. And you guess it's just put in the scene. That's it. What happens? I think the size might be good actually. Just position, alt click and drag. And you can put here and there, or you can just keep going here, just like boom, another one there. Another one here. You could make a tool, a blueprint tool that's a spline and just make everything there. But for this thing here, I just want small details essentially. I'm doing by hands because we still need to do so much more, and I just don't want to go out of scope in this whole process. So let's say I'm happy with this small arrangement. If I feel this can be speeding up my process or world building, I can just select then and you guess it. just make this into a PLA. Level, grade pack level actor, same settings, PLA, fence. Hey. And I don't like to use numbers, I like to use letters because every time I duplicate something, you can see it auto adds a letter right after. See, there's bridge 1 and bridge 2. So if the name of the asset was bridge 1, the next one will be bridge 2, etc. So it kind of overrides that stuff. So I don't like to do that. I prefer to do fence A. That's the type of fence it is, but now it's fence A2. And I can use that to really quickly add some details to my scene. Thiago, should you be art directing the whole thing? Well, if you want it, it's up to you, right? You can legally position everything by hand if that's what you really want to do. But I think sometimes like stuff like this, it's an easy win. You just do once and then you just play with it. Play from here. Look at that. Of course, I need to probably get close to it and make sure there's not floating. The rotation is a little bit too strong. And boom. Tiny world's already created. That fence is so small the character can go on top of it, which is pretty fun. We can add animation to this after, we can do so much. But I'm gonna let you explore because we have a lot of cool items here for you. There's so much they can build. And notice this is all modular, like I said. So this was all created using these assets, just assembling them together. The way to imagine this is that each one of the assets is a Lego piece by itself, and the PLA is the Lego set. So you can build several sets with the same stuff. I even went ahead and created a base of the SIG separate, in case you want to design your own buildings on top of it. So you can play with that in that way. And I know there's just a few, but this can, if you keep like adding density of design, you can just increase the complexity of your layout really quickly. Like, who is to say that you can't have a bunch of barrels in the corner here, right? Maybe the character's going up, and in here there's another one of these abandoned there, waiting to go to the sea or something. And you keep going. There's like a tiny plaza here, so we can just go here and add another waterfall. Make 1.5, I think. And we start designing, we start playing around with stuff. This one, I think, because the floor is not perfectly flat where I was pulling, was causing some issues, but now it's okay. Look at that. Whoops. Create your story. Create your tiny villa. Like, if, it's almost like you were a dungeon master creating the world. Right? Then you can just put another one of these lights here. This was 2, I think, or 1.5. And when we add characters and NPCs, this is going to be looking way more livable, which is the goal. A lot of this stuff for fast prototyping like we're doing right now is amazing. Like, very easily and very quickly you can add a lot of complexity to it. So your challenge now is to just get the skill set that I just showed you and start building more stuff. Remember, every time you group something, add to the PLA.